Hi everyone, it is Alex with Holistic Movement Pilates. Today I have a reformer workout for you using the box as a prop. So go ahead and grab your box. As always, I will have the props linked in the description below if you don't have them. If you don't have a box, I would highly recommend getting one. I use them fairly often for our workouts. One of my favorite props to use is the box. So grab your box. It can just be off to the sides to start. We are going to start with a quick footwork series just to get ourselves warmed up. I'm going to go foot bar up to the starting position. I'm going a little heavier today just because it's a quick footwork series to get us warmed up. I'm doing 3 heavies and 1 medium spraying on my balance body reformer. That is 3 reds and 1 blue. Headrest can be up or down, that's up to you. And then we're just going to go ahead and lie ourselves down. Again, just a quick leg warm up with our footwork today. It is going to be a full body workout. Big focus though on our core today. So I'm gonna go ahead, get started with my heels on the foot bar, parallel with each other, sits bone distance away, so just about a fist distance away from each other. Arms are nice and long at my sides. I'm in a nice neutral spine. I'm going to go ahead and push my carriage out just one time with my legs. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna bend my knees, come halfway in, hold at this halfway point, and I'm just gonna do little pulses in my carriage for 10, 9, 8. This is all we're gonna do for our footwork today. We'll be pulsing for 3, 2, 1. We push all the way out. We pause out. We bend our knees. We come halfway in. We pulse again for 10, 9. Keeping that neutral spine. Push all the way back out. Again, bend our knees, come halfway in. Last set of pulses for 10. Keeping the pelvis nice and still. 3, 2, 1, and then we push all the way out and we bend to come back in. And once we come back in, we're going to do the same thing on our arches. So arches of our feet go onto the foot bar. They stay that same distance away from each other. Again, I'm going to push the carriage out one time, bend my knees, come halfway in, pulse the carriage for 10, 9, 3, 2, 1, all the way out. Again, we're coming halfway in, pulsing 2 more times for 10. Getting the blood flowing, the heart rate up. 3, 2, 1, push all the way out. Halfway in, last time on the arches for 10. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're all the way out and we're all the way back in. All right, now once we come back in, we're going toes, balls of our feet onto the foot bar. All 10 toes should be on that foot bar. I'm gonna do just a little lift of my heels, able to hold my neutral spine when I lift my heels. I push my carriage out. I come halfway in, I keep that little lift. Ready, let's pulse for 10. 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way out. Again, halfway in, 2 more times for 10. 4, 3, 2, 1, push out. Again, we want to keep that little lift. We're coming halfway in, pulsing for 10. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're pushing all the way out and then we're bending to come back in. Okay, last series we'll be back on our heels. We slide them all the way out to the sides for our wide second position. Our toes, knees are pointing out to the sides of the room. I'm pushing my carriage all the way out again. I'm coming halfway in, I'm pausing and then pulsing for 10. 3, 2, 1, all the way out, halfway in, pulse for 10. 4, 3, 2, 1, we push out and then halfway in, last set of pulses for 10. Again, just getting the legs warmed up, get the blood flowing through our body with this pulsing series. 3, 2, 1, push out, and then all the way back in. Okay, now keep your heels on the foot bar. Slide them to the center. They're parallel with each other, sits bone distance away. Headrests are going to be all the way down, moving into bridging. I'm going to inhale first in my neutral spine. On an exhale, I'm gonna flatten my low back down into the mat, and I'm just rolling my spine up off the carriage, one vertebrae at a time. I'm sending my tailbone to the backs of my knees, taking an inhale at the top, and then on my exhale, I'm rolling my spine all the way back down into the mat. Again, just one vertebrae at a time. Again, I'm inhaling in my neutral when I come down. I'm exhaling to flatten my low back down, rolling up one bone at a time, taking an inhale at the top, and again, exhaling as I articulate my spine all the way back down into the mat. Inhaling in my neutral, 2 more. Exhale, flatten and peel, using the glutes and the hamstrings as we roll up. Inhale at the top, exhale, rolling down one bone at a time, and then we're just gonna go ahead and do one more bridge. Again, pausing for that inhale, and then we're exhaling to articulate our spines all the way back down into the mat. Okay, now once we come down, we're gonna bring it back into our neutral spine. We're gonna sit ourselves off to the sides of our reformers. And then when we sit off to the sides, I'm gonna take off all of my heavy springs. So I'm just on one single medium spring. So one medium spring on your reformer. Your box is going to go on the floor. We are going to go short box on the floor. I'm gonna set up my box so that the front, which is the part that's closest to my foot bar, is right in line with my shoulder blocks here. You can always scoot it a little further forward if you're shorter. If you scoot it a little further forward if you're taller, it will make it a little lighter. So you can always adjust your box as needed. It really doesn't have to be in like the perfect spot, but just because you can adjust yourselves when you're here. So again, I'm right about in line with my shoulder blocks. Short box is on the floor. One blue or one medium spring. I'm gonna grab this strap that's right next to me, and I'm sitting on my box. Then I'm actually gonna just sit on the floor with my bra line towards the edge of the box. Now, when I get my bra line here, I'm gonna have my head and my shoulders go down onto the box. My bra line is gonna be like right at the edge, and I'm gonna reach my left arm just up towards the ceiling, and then we're gonna slide the right hand on top, and I'm lifting up my hips into a bridge. My feet should be about 6 bones distance away from each other. Now, the arms are gonna stay in this position. I don't really have any tension on my strap. I'm just gonna inhale, hinge at my hips. I'm gonna dip my butt down towards the floor, and then I'm gonna exhale, squeeze my glutes and lift my hips back up. And I'm actually gonna scoot a little further off my box. So I'm gonna inhale, dip my hips down towards the floor, and then I'm gonna exhale and lift my hips back up. Inhaling as I dip down. Again, I'm squeezing my glutes to lift. I want to imagine if somebody were to come around and karate chop me at the hips, I go down from the hips, and then I squeeze my glutes to lift back up. So again, hinge at the hips, squeeze the glutes to lift back up for nice little pelvic lifts into that bridge. Down, squeeze to lift. Again, arms are just staying in the same spot the entire time. I'm gonna go for 3, squeeze, 2, exhale and then lift, and then last one, inhale, dip, exhale, lift. Now we're gonna hold ourselves up into a bridge. On an exhale, I'm gonna pull my arms down towards my thighs, and then I'm gonna inhale, return my arms back up. So again, exhale, pull down to the thighs, inhale, return. Now as always, if you need to change your springs to make this lighter, you can. If you want this heavier, you can always use the short loop instead of the long. I'm holding on to my long loop today. Exhaling as I pull, inhaling as I return, keeping tension on my rope the entire time, holding my bridge. So squeezing those glutes and staying right up into that bridge. Let's pull down for 4. 2 more, exhale to pull, inhale to release, and then last one, exhale, pull, and then inhale, release. Okay, now we're gonna combine movement. So the arms are gonna stay long. I'm gonna dip my hips back down towards the floor as I lift my hips up. I'm gonna press my arms down to my thighs. Then I'm gonna return the arms and the hips down, lift the hips and pull the arms down. Inhale, lower the hips, and exhale, lift and pull those arms down towards our thighs. Dip and lift. I'm keeping my knees and feet that hip distance away from each other. They're staying parallel. and then I'm evenly weighted throughout my feet. So I'm not rolling to my arches, and I'm not rolling to the outsides of my feet. Let's go for 2. And then on this last one, I'm gonna pause at the top. My arms are still back down towards my thighs, and then I'm gonna return my arms up towards the ceiling. Now, from here, the left hand is gonna stay into the strap. The right hand, I'm just going to take behind my head, and then I'm gonna slide my feet when I'm in my bridge a little closer towards each other. My right knee is gonna go up into a tabletop position. I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna inhale, dip my right toes down to the floor. Exhale, lift, dip the toes. Exhale, lift, using that left side for stability. Inhale, dip down. Exhale, I'm engaging my right obliques to pull that knee up into a tabletop position for 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now we dip those right toes back down. This time when we lift the right leg up, we pull the left arm down towards our leg, and then we return the arm and we dip the right toes down. So every time I lift my right leg, I'm now pulling my left arm down. I'm trying to keep my pelvis nice and still. My left side is really working here. Let's do 4, 3, 2, trying to keep the pelvis level, and 1. Okay, relax that right foot. Butt can go all the way down to the floor, and then I am going to sit up off of my box. And then once I come up, I'm gonna stand on the floor carefully. I'm gonna rotate towards the box this time, and then I'm gonna go ahead, set my left foot on the box, and I'm just gonna keep my right foot on the floor. Again, I'm still hanging on to the long loop. If you want it heavier for arms, you can always do the short loop. If you need it lighter, you can always change to a lighter spring. On an exhale, I'm gonna bend my elbow into my ribs and pull in. My palm is rotated towards my body, and I'm gonna extend my arm. So again, palm rotated to the body. We bend the elbow narrow, we pull past the ribs, and then we inhale to extend. Exhale, pull, and inhale as we extend that arm nice and long. Abs are in towards our back. I just have my left hand on my hip. You can have it at your side. You can hold on to your thigh. That is up to you, just as long as that left shoulder is down out of the air. Exhale, pull, and inhale as we extend. Let's pull for 3 more. 2, and 1. Okay, now once we extend, we're gonna pause. We flip our palm up to the ceiling this time. We're gonna pull back in, but the palm stays rotated to the ceiling. So we pull in narrow, we extend, in narrow, extend. We should feel our biceps firing a little more. Last time should have been a little more into those lats. Exhale, pull, inhale, extend. I'm keeping my wrists as long as I can when I pull back. And then again, extending that arm just nice and long. I'm still feeling my lats, but again, biceps are engaged a little more when the palm is flipped up. 5 more. 2, and then last one. Okay, now I'm gonna extend my arm nice and long. I'm gonna pause, rotate my palm back towards my body, and I'm just gonna pull it in one time, just right into my ribs, so it's not going as far back as I was before. I'm gonna keep my right elbow into my ribs. Now I'm gonna press into my left foot. I'm gonna lift up onto the box. From here, I'm gonna step my right foot down and sink into a lunge. Again, I'm gonna hop up onto my box, step my right foot down into a lunge. Up and down. Now that right elbow needs to stay in to your ribs. Balance stability comes from that left side. Sink into a lunge. Use your left leg to stand all the way up onto the box. Balance in your legs, glutes, and your core. Exhale as we pop up. Inhale as we come down. Let's go for 4, 3, and then last one, up and down. Okay, once we come back down, we're gonna hang our strap up onto the peg. I'm gonna take my short box. This time it's gonna go on the carriage. It can be up against the shoulder blocks. And then you have the option to stay with this medium spring or go to one light spring, which is what I'm gonna do. Light's gonna make it a little more challenging for our core. So up to you, stay on the medium or go to a light spring. Now, when the box is on, I'm gonna put my hands right around center of the box. I'm just gonna pull my carriage out. I'm gonna take my right foot onto the wooden platform and I'm gonna hop my left foot out. It's staying on the floor. Now, when I hop my left foot out, ideally I want my right leg long and my left leg long. So that's depending on how tall you are. The right leg needs to be long for this exercise, and that'll put you where your left foot needs to be on the floor. Again, hand center of the box. If your wrists are an issue, you can always do this series on your forearms. I'm gonna start by tucking my pelvis. As I tuck my pelvis, I'm gonna keep my right leg long, lift my carriage in. I'm gonna bring my left knee to my left elbow. And then as I push the carriage back out with my right leg, I'm gonna step my left foot back on the floor. So right leg needs to stay long the entire time. I'm gonna tuck pike, bring my left elbow to my left knee, and then I'm gonna set it back down or bring my knee to my elbow. Again, I'm gonna pike, knee to elbow, and then come back down. Pike, knee to elbow, and down. Again, my right leg is gonna stay long. I'm getting a little bend to my left leg every time I come down. That is fine. Feeling my left obliques working to bring my knee in, and then I'm carefully setting it back down. Exhale, tuck pike, inhale back. Let's do 4. Just heads up on the last one, we have to stay at the top for 3. Okay, now on this last one, we have to hold up here. Now we push the carriage out. We bring the knee to the box. We extend it away from us when we bring the carriage in. Again, right leg stays long. So we push out with the right leg. I bring my left knee to the box. I extend it behind me when my carriage comes in. Knee to box, and then inhale back. Exhale, knee to box. Inhale, extend. Trying to keep my right leg long as I push out. And in, my arms are really pushing away. And then I'm bringing the carriage back in. Exhale to push. Inhale back. Let's do 3, 2, really bumping this carriage in. Last one. And in. Okay, now once we come back in, I'm just gonna set my left foot onto the carriage, give my wrists a little counter stretch. Again, if the wrists are ever an issue, you can do this whole series on your forearms. We're gonna step off to the side, and then we're going back to a medium spring. I'm taking that light one off. Same series on the other side. The short box is gonna go on to the floor. Now, when you get your short box on again, it's in line with your shoulder blocks. If you went lighter for this one, you can always go lighter or heavier with your spring load. We're gonna sit down. First, I'm gonna grab the strap into my right hand, and then I'm gonna sit my butt on the floor. Bra line is gonna go to about the edge of the box. Then I'm gonna set my head down and lift my hips up. Again, I kind of scooted off the box a little more the last time. I still have the long loop in my hand. If you want it heavier, you can always go short. Both hands are in the straps to start. My hips are lifted up into my bridge already. Feet should be hip distance away. Okay, we start with those little pelvic dips. So on an inhale, I'm gonna hinge at my hips, dip my butt down towards the floor, and I'm gonna exhale, squeeze my hips to lift back up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, squeeze to lift those hips back up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift and squeeze. Glutes, hamstrings, dipping at those hips, squeezing to lift. Again, I like to imagine if somebody were to come around and karate chop you at the hips, you hinge from there, And then you have to use your glutes, your hamstrings, and your quads to lift your hips back up into that flat piece. Dip, squeeze to lift, dip, squeeze to lift. Let's go for 4, 3, 2. As always, I'm sending my tailbone to the backs of my knees in a bridge. Last one. Okay, now we add in with this. So we dip those hips back down. This time when we lift, we pull our arms down towards our thighs. We return the arms and the hips back down. So when I lift my hips, I pull my arms. When I return the arms, I dip my hips back down. Exhale, lift and squeeze. Inhale, return. Lift, squeeze. And then inhale again as I return. Glutes, hamstrings sitting right back into those lats as we pull the arms down with control, back up with control. I'm keeping tension on my rope the entire time. Let's do 2. Okay, on this last one, we hold those hips up. Now just the arms lift up to the ceiling, just the arms pull down, just the arms lift, just the arms pull down. Hips stay lifted up into a bridge. Again, send your tailbones to the backs of your knees, squeeze the glutes and the hamstrings to keep our hips lifted up. Let's go for 2 and 1. Okay, now when those arms go up, pause. Those hips stay lifted. I'm gonna keep my right hand in the strap. I'm gonna take my left hand behind my head, my feet side a little closer towards each other. I'm going to lift my left knee up into a tabletop position. It stays here. Now the carriage stays still. We're gonna dip the left toes down to the floor, lift up, dip down, lift up. I inhale to dip, I exhale to lift. I'm trying to keep my pelvis nice and stable the entire time. I could lie a bowl of soup on my pelvis. It would never spill when I dip and lift, using that right side to stabilize us for 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we add in those single arms. So we dip the toes. When we lift, we pull that right arm down. When we dip the toes, we bring the arm up. Pull and lift the leg. When the toes dip, then the arm goes back up. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Pull that arm down every time that leg lifts up. Feel that right side for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, relax back down, set the hips down, and then we can go ahead and sit ourselves up. However you can get up. I usually never say gracefully in Pilates, just safely get up. Okay, switch that strap. So now it's in your left hand. Again, long loop light, short loop is heavy. I'm gonna take my right foot onto the box this time. Palms should be rotated towards your bodies. We're standing up nice and tall. Elbow goes in towards our ribs as we pull back, extend, in towards the ribs and extend. Every time we pull back, again, I'm keeping my wrists long. My shoulders and hips are staying parallel to the wall out in front of me. Exhale, pull, and again, inhale as I extend that arm out, really feeling that lat engage. I'm also feeling my triceps, my biceps working. Pull, extend, pull, extend. Let's go for 5 more. 2 and 1. Okay, now once I extend, I'm gonna pause. Flip my palm up to the ceiling, same thing, but the palm is rotated up to the ceiling. We pull in and past the ribs, extend, in past the ribs, extend. Exhale, pull, inhale, back out. Feeling that bicep engage a little more when that palm is flipped up. Okay, I'm gonna go for 4, 3. Again, my shoulders, hips are staying parallel to the wall in front of me. My wrist stays long. And then last one. All right, now once I extend, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna rotate my palm back towards my body. I'm just gonna pull my elbow into my ribs. It doesn't have to go as far back as it was before. It stays into the ribs. I'm going to press into my right foot. I'm gonna stand up onto my right leg. Then when I come back down, I'm going into a lunge. So I'm stepping a little further back with that left. Ready? Lift up onto your box, down into a lunge on the box, and lunge. Take these at your own pace. If you need to work a little slower for stability, you can always work a little slower for stability. One side is definitely gonna be a little easier to balance on than the other. One side's a little more challenging. This is my not so easy side here. So I have to work just a tiny bit slower to keep that stability in my right leg. Up and down, up and down. Let's go for 6. Keep that elbow into the ribs, wrist long. I have 3 and 1. Okay, when we come down, pause, hang that strap back up onto the peg, and then we're gonna take our box on, again, short box, in front of the shoulder box. Now the last side, I did a light spring. Gotta do it on this side, otherwise stay on that medium. And then if the wrists are an issue, drop down onto your forearms. Hands go to the center of the box. My left foot goes onto the wooden platform this time. I'm just gonna hop out so my left leg is nice and long. That's gonna gauge where your right foot is at on the floor. Shoulders over the hands, left leg stays long. When I tuck my pelvis and I lift my right foot off the floor, I go knee to elbow. I stand back down onto the floor, knee to elbow, back down. I'm tucking my pelvis and rounding my spine into like a little kitty cat back. So tuck, pike, and then step back down onto the floor with control. Again, think a little kitty cat back as we come in and out. Kitty cat back in and out. My left leg is gonna stay long the entire time. I'm aiming for my right knee to go to my elbow. I'm gonna feel my right obliques working when I take that knee in and down with control. Okay, we're gonna go for 4 more. On the last one, we hold. 2. Okay, last one. We have to hold in. Okay, now I'm gonna push my carriage out. My right knee goes to the box. When I tuck to pike to come back in, I extend my right leg back. So as I push out, knee to box. When I come in, I extend back. I'm trying to keep my left leg long the entire time. It is bending slightly when I come in. That is fine. I'm exhaling to push out, and I'm inhaling back in with the carriage. Exhale to push the carriage away, and inhale back. Knee to box, extend, knee to box, extend. Let's do 3, 2, and 1. And out. Okay, you can step off of your reformer. Boxes can go back. If you're not on a light spring, switch to a light spring. My box, I always just put at the front of my reformer, or the back. I'm gonna stay back here, so back by my straps. We're gonna stand in the well, and we're gonna face our reformers when we stand into the well. Now, again, 1 light spring. If this is too challenging for you, we are gonna move into some pikes. You can take off the spring and do no springs. Again, 1 light or no springs. No springs makes this a lot easier. Just be careful because your carriage obviously moves very easily if you don't have any springs on. Hands are gonna go onto the shoulder blocks, and I'm gonna take my feet onto the frame of my carriage. So obviously if you're shorter, your feet are gonna go a little further forward. If you're taller like myself, I'm going all the way back to the edge of the frame and I'm pushing into like a little down dog position. Taking a look at my feet while I'm here. They're parallel with each other, sits bones distance away. Now, we're gonna move into a plank. So starting at my heels, I'm gonna lift my heels and think undulate through your spine as you roll into a plank. Hold here. Now, we're going into pikes next, so not down dog. Shoulders need to stay over your hands. Tuck your pelvis, hike your hips, pull the carriage out, and then back into your plank. Tuck pike, and back into your plank. I'm gonna show you what not to do. So if you're trying to pull the carriage away and you're shifting your shoulders back into that down dog position, the carriage will not get pulled out. If you keep your shoulders over your hands, you tuck your pelvis, and you lift your hips, the carriage will get pulled out. So your shoulders have to stay over your hands for these pikes. Let's do 2 and 1. Okay, back into a down dog. So push and stretch. Now, if you want to go down dog on the floor and push and stretch with down dog on the floor, especially for your wrist's sake, you can always do it on the floor. If you feel fine staying on the frame of your carriage, you can stay on the frame and do your down dog there. Okay, so if you're on the floor, step back onto the frame. If you're on the frame, stay where you're at. Ready? Lift the heels, roll through your spine, back into your plank. Now this time, hold the legs in the same spot. Pull the carriage out with your arms and release. Pull out with your arms and release. Pull out, release, out, release. Legs long, abs in, butts down. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, step onto the floor. Give your wrists a little break, little roll. Hold and stretch. Okay, last thing that we have here will be push-ups. You have the option to do them on the floor, here, forward, and doing little push-ups with your toes on the floor, or having your feet go back onto the frame of the carriage and doing your push-ups with your feet on the carriage. Obviously, on the carriage or on the frame is a little more challenging. So floor, frame, up to you. I'm gonna go onto the frame. I'm gonna go into my plank. Let's do 8 wide push-ups, wide press, wide press. They can be big or small. Range of motion is up to you. I have 4 more. And 1. Whew, okay. Step back down. Feel free to give your wrist a little roll. I'm gonna step out of my well, and then we're gonna keep this light spring on. We are going to stand and straddle our reformers. Now we are just doing a stretch here. So reminder for my shorties or my people who have reformers that are taller or higher off the floor, you can go to a blue spring or a medium spring instead of a light. You can stand in front of your reformer with your hands on the 2 front corners of your carriage. Just because if you're shorter, if you have a taller reformer, sometimes straddling your reformer does not work. So again, if you are one of those people, stand on the floor in front of your foot bar, hands will go into the 2 front corners of your carriage, and you can do the same stretch. Again, I would do 1 medium spring rather than 1 light for this. Hands are gonna go into the shoulder blocks. We're gonna lift our butts up. We're gonna just push the carriage out, and we're gonna drop the chest down in between the arms. We're just doing 1 stretch here. So enjoy it, drop that chest, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, then we're gonna round through our spine, bring the carriage back in, and we're gonna set our butts down. Now, once we set our butts down, I'm gonna set my legs just off to one side. Does not matter. We are going to 2 heavy springs, 4 feet and straps. As always, if you would like it heavier than that, you can always have a light spring on with those 2 heavies. I'm just gonna do 2 heavy springs today, no light, and then we're gonna lie ourselves down, head rest. can be up or down to start. Eventually they will go down for our feet and strap series. I'm gonna reach behind me and grab my short loops. Now we are gonna do some inversions. So if that does change your springs, just know a lighter spring for inversions are a little more challenging. We're gonna start long loops on our feet, heels together, toes are turned apart, legs are down to a little lower than a 45-degree angle, and we're just gonna begin with our frogs. So I'm gonna inhale, bend my knees in for a frog, and I'm gonna exhale to stretch my legs back out. Inhale, bend, and exhaling as we stretch, keeping the sacrum heavy, pelvis still, maintaining my neutral spine the entire time for these frogs. Again, it's an inhale to bend and an exhale as we push the legs back out. I'm gonna go for 2. And then last one. Now when I push out, I'm gonna hold my legs out away from me into Peter Pans. My pelvis stays heavy. I open my right leg straight out to the side. My left knee bends just like a frog. And then I'm pushing both legs back to that starting position. Then I bend my right knee, let my left leg open out to the side for that Peter Pan, and I press back out center. We're gonna continue alternating right and left. Again, the idea is that the pelvis stays nice and heavy. I always like to take my hands onto my hips just to make sure that it's staying still. If you feel it moving, it helps to have the leg go a little higher up to the ceiling rather than lower to the floor. Inhale, open, and then we're exhaling to press back center. Feeling my inner thighs working to push back center. I'm gonna go for 2, and then last one. Okay, now from here, pause. Heels are still together, toes are still turned apart. If you have your headrest up, make sure they go all the way down. We're gonna do short spine massage. I'm gonna bend my knees in for a frog. I'm gonna push my legs back out. From there, I'm gonna go up and over with my legs. I'm gonna click my carriage all the way home, bend my knees, frog in. Heels are still together, toes are still turned apart. I'm keeping my toes over my eyes, starting at my butt. I'm gonna roll my spine down into the mat. Again, keep your toes over your eyes as long as you can. Then when you can't roll your butt down anymore, you go heels to glutes, you push your legs out, you go up and over, try to click your carriage home, bend the knees, frog the feet, keep the feet loose as seat, roll that booty down, stay looking at those toes. Heels are together, toes are still turned apart. Heels to the glutes when you can't go down anymore, push the carriage out. We exhale to go up and over. Let's keep going with that short spine massage at your own pace. The massage part comes when you roll your spine down. So again, keep those toes over your eyes as long as you can. Again, I'm trying to click my carriage all the way home when I go up and over. We're gonna do one more. Okay, then once I come back down, I'm gonna pause at the bottom, stretch my legs out, and I'm just gonna scoop myself back into my shoulder blocks just because I did come out slightly. Okay, if you do want your headrest to go back up, they can. Our feet are gonna be parallel with each other, sits this way, parallel with each other, zip together. We're gonna finish off with circles. So I'm gonna lower my legs a little further down towards the floor, open my legs wide out to the sides, I'm circling around and back up. I'm exhaling to lower, inhaling to circle my legs around and back up again. Sacrum heavy, pelvis nice and still. Movement comes right from the head of the femur in the hip socket. Down, around, and up. Again, exhale to lower. Inhaling as we circle around and back up. Nice big circle so we can open up those hips. And sacrum stays nice and heavy, pelvis is anchored. Now once we come back up, we're pausing at the top and then we're reversing our circle. So we open wide, press them down around, zip them together, and then we're hinging at the hips to come back up. Again, neutral spine the entire time, nice big circles. Allow those hips to open. Okay, we're gonna go for 3, 2, and then last one. Now this last time I let my legs go up, I'm gonna pause, let my low back go flat. I'm gonna bend my knees, bring the bottoms of my feet together, hold that butterfly stretch. I'm pulling on my straps too, just for a little extra stretch here. All right, now the left foot stays. The right leg is gonna open out to the side. We're gonna give that adductor and hamstring a little stretch here. We should be breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, then I'm gonna take my right foot in, extend the left leg out, hold that stretch. Again, I'm holding onto my ropes just for a little extra assistance. And then I'm gonna bring it back in. I'm gonna go ahead, take my straps off of my feet, hang them back up onto the pegs. Now, once we take the straps off, we can all sit ourselves off to the sides. You are all finished with your workout. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me today.